Saturday View with Ronan Berry. With thanks to Lumcloon Energy, pioneering innovation, powering progress. LumcloonEnergy.com. Call 0818 300 103. Text or WhatsApp your Saturday View to 083 3010 103.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It's Ronan Berry and it's time for Saturday View. And coming up between now and 11, we're going to look at the humanitarian assistance scheme and whether it's something that you would be eligible to apply for if you have been impacted in some way by Storm Éowyn. For many people, the level of that impact is vastly different right across the Midlands region, and some people are still without power over 2 weeks after the storm hit. So what can the humanitarian assistance scheme do for you? How is it broken down? How is it divvied out? And who might be eligible? We'll explore all that with a local county councillor later on the show. Also, we'll be going across to Mullingar to talk about tourism briefly, and there's a former president of the Mullingar Chamber has said it's time to take tourism seriously in the region. So even though Westmeath would be down as part of Ireland's hidden heartlands, obviously they see huge opportunities there and need for more action to be taken. We'll get to the very bottom of the nature of that action very, very shortly too. And also we'll be going across live to Mumbai in India, because the Kalash to Cullum India Immersion Project is in full swing again in 2025, and there's a group of students and teachers over there at present, and we'll find out exactly why they go over, what they're doing and what they're learning from their experience. So lots to get through here on Saturday View this morning, but we're going to start in that area of tourism too, and again of people coming together and taking action as well. So sitting across from me in studio right now is John Butler of the Shannon Bank Park Development Group. Very good morning, John.
Well, I'm delighted to be here and thanks for talking to me.
Not at all, a pleasure. And look, at some really exciting stuff happening in Banagher. I had Owen Coughlin from Outdoorsy on the business show with me on Tuesday evening, and great example of somebody just, getting up, setting up a new business and starting to cater for that newfound interest people have in leisure tourism and getting outdoors and all things like that as well. So he did give a quick mention of the outdoor swimming pool project, and he said there's going to be a big fundraising campaign drive launched for that. That's what you're here to talk to us about this morning. Absolutely. But I suppose, to begin, just give us an idea. Who and what is the Shannon Bank Park Development Group?
Well, I suppose a small little bit of history first. I suppose that in about 1956, the land where the Shannon Bank is at the moment is on the Galway side of the river in Banagher. And it was owned by Shannon Navigation, and they gave it over to a number of trustees in the town. And over the years it has been developed, and now it's a focal part of our town, and it's a big attraction. And we have a very unique swimming pool there, which is being upgraded at the moment. So the Shannon Bank Development Group is there to enhance that whole bank, to get more people involved in outdoors and swimming and appreciating our natural resources, which is the river. It's a huge resource we have, and we're trying to make the most of it.
How long is it there, approximately, the existing pool?
The existing pool, it started about when I was growing up in the 70s, there used to be a blue railing there that would just stop us going out into the river. And from that then, we developed these pontoons, which were kind of more or less tar barrels, 45-gallon tar barrels, with a timber structure on top of it. That formed a kind of a 12 or 15 metre pool. And from that then, a few years later, Banagher Concrete, in fairness to them, developed this floating structure. And it's a very unique structure. It's probably one. If you look at it, it doesn't look like a huge amount, but it's very unique, and it actually spawned an industry. In about the 1990s, the current pool was put in. It's at the end of its life now, and it was probably the first major floating structure in Ireland and Europe. And from that, as I said, an industry spawned, which was Inland Coastal. It employs about 80 people now, and that technology has been exported around the world. As a matter of fact, I think last year they sent stuff to Melbourne and Australia. So there's a huge backstory to the whole thing and the pool. But look, we're here to talk about the pool and the benefits to everyone.
I love how you said about that blue railing. It was put up to try and keep you out of the river. It obviously didn't.
Well, no, but it was a few feet out into the river.
That's it. Yeah. But again, such what looks like a simple addition, but actually when you start talking about the structure, and if anybody's familiar with the likes of those floating jetties, they are an incredible development. So again, something that all started in Banagher too.
Yeah.
Roughly, the usage of the pool over the years, I mean, was it always a summer thing, or again, have you seen a change lately with the growth in outdoor swimming and people looking for that morning dip?
Yeah, obviously COVID had a big check on all the way we lived our lives. And in fairness, for years, the pool was very well used, not so much during the winter, and that swimming area was down. But since COVID and that, a number of swimming group is down there, and people are there all year round. Every day, 7 o'clock in the morning, you'll see people in the river. I don't go in that early, but but a lot of them do. Fairly mainly women. There was a swimming group there. I think there's about 100 in it, but that spawned a social club as well. Like so the pool is part of our community, but also people are coming in from around the town. Like I was there one day and I met a team from Longford. We're down after training. They come down, club day, they were down there. Other days you see some of the local GA clubs will be coming in after training instead of ice baths to go in for a swim. Like it's fantastic. I think last year the Irish ice swimming team that were competing in the World Championships used it during the winter for a bit of training as well. Like it's not as cold as there now, but a little bit cold. But it's getting more and more popular. It's getting busier and busier. And one of the things we have to look at as well is parking now there in our next stage, phase 2.
So you've obviously noted that, you've taken that on board, and really you've started a hugely ambitious project for it then.
Yeah, sure. It was a great idea at the time. It didn't seem that big an idea, but it's grown. But then we were looking at it, and this is a legacy to people in the future as well. Like this should be here for the next 40 years, and we want to do it right and make sure that everyone can come and enjoy it. Like the big thing about the pool is it's free. Everyone can use it. You can get into your car, walk down there. You don't have to worry about chlorine. You don't have to worry about power. Unfortunately, like on very, very unfortunate people at the moment, you can go down in for a dip and off you go. Like. And we're delighted to see as many people. We want to share. Like we have a responsibility for the river because we live there, but we want to share it with everybody. And the pool is going to cost nearly 800,000. We secured just a transition grant, which was great from Brendan Loughlin, his friend or his team, done a great job in securing that. It's given us a great boost. We've got 180 grand to raise, and we will raise it. And we have some unique ways of raising it too.
No, a substantial grant amount, 616,000 in all, which is again a huge, it's about 84% I think of the total amount too. Take us through the project itself though. What exactly are you going to do and what are you hoping to achieve in terms of the pool, the structure and the facilities around it?
Yeah, well I suppose the simple thing is we're going to take away the existing pool and we're going to float in a new pool which will have an internal dimensions about 25 metres by about 11, which is a standard pool, but people can, but outside that then the pontoons or the floating sections are between 6 and 4 metres wide. Some of them are 6 metres wide, and we'll have seating on that, so people can go up there and sit and watch their kids, and leave towels there, and probably get more involvement in the pool and that. And I suppose the big thing about the pool is for outdoor swimming, it's a really safe area. Like it's an enclosed pool, you can't get out into the water. So and it's becoming more and more popular. Now, we're also going to landscape the areas as well. And if you see, obviously it's a floating structure because of the issue with the rising water levels. And during the winter at the moment, we can't actually access the pool that easily. Now you can get onto it, but it's a bit easier. So the new pool will have 2 accesses. One will be a winter access and one a summer access, which means that from a high level you'll be able to walk straight onto the pool because people are using it all year round. So it's going to have facilities to step down, so disabled people can use it. We're going to have a little ramp for people to get into it, and also we'll have a kind of little crane there as well that people that are very badly disabled can use it as well. So this is a very inclusive pool. And the big thing about this, it's a big community effort. And the fundraising. A lot of different groups have put up their hand and said, we're going to raise a few pounds for you, which is great.
And you've kind of detailed some of those online recently too.
Yeah.
Like, give us a kind of a flavour of some of the things that are planned anyway to raise that pretty much €180,000.
Yeah, it's when you say it fast, it doesn't sound that much, but it's a lot of money. But we I suppose one of the things that we're having this challenge Carrauntoohil. So we're trying to get 100 people or more from the area to walk up Carrauntoohil. And we want people that maybe didn't think about doing something like that, challenge like that before, to say, you know what, I'll have a go. And there's an awful lot of people in the last week or so since we had our launch night have come forward and said we'd love to do that. So that's a big fundraiser for us. We're also having the swimming club. We're going to do a swim down from Shannon Harbour. It's about 3 or 4 kilometres open water swim. But with that as well, we're looking for people who haven't done much swimming before, and we'll train them to get ready for it. So we're trying to be as inclusive as we possibly can and to maximise the fabulous resource that we have. On top of that then as well, we're having our nameplates, which would be standard enough thing around it, and people can buy the nameplates that will be on the pool for family and friends. We're having an auction night, which we're very excited about, and we're getting great support. We're getting memorabilia from the sports world, from entertainment, and all sorts of peculiar things as well. That'll be in sometime in April. We're looking forward to that. As well as that, then the National School and Secondary School are also getting involved. So it's a big community effort. There's a horse and pony club there doing something. There's a tractor run. So there's a lot of different things out there. We're just said we weren't not going to sell tickets as much as possible. We won't be selling the normal things. And the other thing then as well is we have done a kind of promotional video which we're going to send out to expats, because every town the same people are asked to contribute the whole time. And this time we're saying this is a big project. It's a big statement. And let's get people who have an affiliation in town to help out as well. So with the video will be released. We launched it last Sunday night. and it'll be released, I'd say, in another few days. So it's all exciting stuff.
Fantastic, get the word out. What's the timeline on this? If with that funding secured, can you get started on it?
Yeah, we're at the moment, because there's such a large sum of money, we have to go through the EU procedure, protocol, and procurement procedure. Yes. So we're at the moment.
That'll be harder than the fundraising.
That's kind of tough, but we're well through it, and we're about to appoint consultants, and from that then we can tender the actual pool. Now we have a very strict timeline on it. Like, we want it in for sometime in June this year. Very ambitious, but look, we like a challenge, so we're going to have a go, and we will hope to sign contracts sometime in February, with about a 3 or 4 month lead in time then.
Okay, that's fairly soon. If you've got people like Brendan O'Loughlin on board with you too, like, that all helps, people that can really, who know that system inside out, are well used to it, and they can really drive it on for you.
Yeah, and in fairness, Brendan and his team were fantastic, and only for them we wouldn't be where we are. Like, and a lot of these guys don't get enough. Like, in every town, there's people there who have huge contribution and don't get enough praise, but Brendan and his team, and all the volunteers and Banner and the committee, like, we've all put in a huge effort to get this far. Like, so what we were trying to do was we get everything lined up, and then we have our launch night. So we had a launch night last Sunday night. It was in Crankhouse, and the place was packed. There was lads outside in the street trying to listen to us. Like, so it was great buzz, and a great buzz in the room. And it. But the thing about it's not just for Banner; it's for everyone, from people in Tullamore, from the whole Midlands area. Like, it's another asset that we want to promote.
Absolutely, no, and that's it. And we just mentioned about Owen the other night. Is almost people forget that the River Shannon is, a huge part of Offaly and the opportunities it presents too. Was the Shannon Bank Park Development Group set up specifically for this project, or are there other things in the pipeline too?
The Shannon, there's this kind of, there's the Shannon Bank trustees. They're the people who are responsible for the bank, for the park at the moment. And then this group is the kind of, and a number of us that are on the trustees are also involved in this. And it's a very specific project to get the pool into the water. Very ambitious project, but we're look, and the likes of Owen in Outdoorsy has been really supportive as well. He's a great guy, started a business and pushes everything. And any time he's asked for something, his hand is up. Like, he's a great guy,
Fantastic. And you get that sense though from everybody, the community really coming together and rallying. If people want to get involved, they want to find out more about this, John.
I suppose the best thing is going to banner.ie/pool, and you'll get all the information. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, we're there. So that's where you'll find us. Like Instagram, I'm sure there's some other social media. I'm not too well up in it, but there's another.
Oh yeah, people will find you across.
We'll find us. Yeah,
and look at even some of those challenges there. If anybody is thinking of getting involved, then even the likes of that swim club or kind of that swimming event. If you've never done it before, maybe there's an opportunity for you to see a stunning part of the country, and also maybe learn how to swim and do some upper water swimming. Maybe you want to climb Carron would be one of those 100 or join the auction. Loads of stuff. John, thanks for coming over this morning. And all the very best.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted. Hopefully we'll see you in Banagher shortly.
You'd never know. An absolute pleasure. And look, speaking of open water swimming, I'm going to shout out to Chris Ball and some of his crazy teammates from RBK and the friends he drags in, because he's doing Freesbury again this year. I think it's his third year, where they start off the 1st of February. They do 1 minute in open water, building up to 28 minutes on the last day of the month. And I know last week in the really kind of sub-zero temperatures, it was fairly nippy, but they're persisting and doing well. They're raising great money. So if you check out Chris's social media there, you'll find out more about that. Also trying to raise some money for some great causes, but some going open water for up to maybe 28 minutes. That's absolutely nuts. He keeps trying to get me to do it. I keep running away, understandably. Now, from Banagher to Mumbai, take a quick break. After that, we'll be taking some teachers and students who are currently out on an India immersion project in Mumbai.
Saturday View, with thanks to Lumcloon Energy, pioneering innovation, powering progress. lumcloonenergy.com.
Welcome back to Saturday View. Still to come, we'll look at the humanitarian assistance scheme and see what that means for those of you affected by Storm Ao, whether it was only briefly, or maybe whether you're one of those people or families or households or businesses that is still affected. See, what does it mean? Who does it apply to? And what sort of things can be claimed for, and how you go about doing that. Also, we'll talk about tourism in Mullingar, and why one former president of Mullingar Chamber believes more needs to be done in the region in order to promote tourism. But one group of people who are kind of on almost like a humanitarian thing as well, mission, is students and teachers from Kalash to Cullen in Tullamore. They're over in Mumbai at the minute as part of their India immersion project. And if you're from around the Midlands, you're probably aware of some of the key elements of this project. But let's find out more about it and go live to Mumbai now. Delighted to be joined by Ray O'Donovan, who's a teacher in Kalash to Cullen and a project lead for the India immersion project. A very good morning, Ray. Can you hear me?
Hi, Ronan. We can hear you, yeah.
Loud
How
and
are you
clear.
all?
We're absolutely brilliant. How is all in Mumbai at this time of the day?
Fantastic. It's about 10 to 4 here in the afternoon, and we're all up in a place called Boravilli in a Don Bosco shelter, Don Bosco Boys Home, which is for kids from the streets, taken in off the streets, about 16, 15, 16 years old, more or less the same ages as our boys here. And it's just a Saturday where we were around with them at a national park this morning, and we're here in the school now. We had lunch, and that now at the moment the rest of the team are upstairs playing music and games and just interacting with these lads, and it's fantastic. And that's the kind of things we're doing all day, every day. And our boys have been absolutely fantastic here as well. So I have a few of them around here with me. I have Peter Feely, who's in fact a past pupil of Coláiste Cullen, but was on the trip the last time, and we always do that, bringing back two past pupils. We also have Liam Auburn in the same, and in fact, the two boys are doing the exactly the same course in UCD, doing law and business. And then I have three of our present students, Dara Boland, Shane Tobin, and Finn Coleman. So if you want to just have a quick word with those there, Ronan, now I'm sure that I'll be delighted to have a word with you.
Absolutely, yeah, and thanks, Ray. And you're kind of giving us an idea maybe of the project, the type of stuff that the guys are doing. I'll come back to you in a few minutes, Ray, maybe just about the objectives of it, because I know it's not the first time Coláiste Cullen have been out there, indeed, that you've been out yourself. But I suppose maybe if Peter is there as a past student who's come back again in the project this year, Peter, there's clearly something in the project that really kind of captured your heartstrings. What was it about it, and what did you learn, I suppose, on your first experience that made you want to go back again?
Yeah, exactly, Ronan. Well, I first came into or heard about this project when my brother went in 2016, I think. So I heard only amazing things from him about it. So when I got the chance to go when I was in fifth year, I knew straight away there wasn't a doubt in my mind that I wanted to sign up, and I'm so glad I did because it's been one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It's so fulfilling and really gives you a fresh perspective on life. Like we take things for advantage, but you come out here and some of the stuff you see, like it really would make you think. Like we would worry about stuff that people out here wouldn't even be able to fathom. But we've had an amazing first week here. The group are absolutely amazing. They're accredited themselves, the school and their families. So we've another week left, and hopefully we'll have as good of a first week, as good of a second week as we had a first week.
You mentioned you get your eyes open when you go on a project like that. What are the first things that jump out at you when you go to a city like Mumbai? Undoubtedly, the density of people, I can only guess, is probably one thing.
Exactly, Ronan. As soon as we stepped off the plane, like even the air and the humidity hits you straight away. And our bus journey takes us through a place called Dharavi, which is the biggest slum in Mumbai. So you're sort of hit with the the biggest slum in all of Mumbai. So you're sort of hit with that culture shock straight away. But our bus actually broke down on the way to our accommodation. So the lads were thrown straight into the deep end with that. We were stuck on the side of the road waiting for a new bus. So we got a proper experience in Mumbai on our first journey.
Yeah, certainly a big difference from coming from around the Tullamore and Midlands area, that's for sure. But just a quick overview of the types of things then, the projects that you're doing there and the work you're engaged on with those different organisations, different schools in Mumbai and that region.
I'll just put you on to Liam Auburn here, Ronan, to answer that.
That's perfect, right?
Yeah, so we work with lots of different organisations when we're over here. The main two that we work with are the Don Bosco shelter, which is just a 5-minute walk from where we're staying. We're staying in Don Bosco High School, so it's actually very accessible for us. And all the lads in there's about 40 of them. And they're a lot older this time than when myself and Peter came. So they're maybe in 18, 19, and some of them are in their 20s. And a lot of them are studying in third level and trying to get a degree. There's still a few young boys, but probably the best crack we have with them is we play football with them every evening. So we have very, very intense matches between ourselves and them. And no doubt there's a bit of cheating going on sometimes, but it's all great crack. And then the second kind of place or institution that we go to is called the Grace Foundation. And it's about a 15-minute taxi journey from where we're staying. So we do that every morning. We go to about 9 and come back at about 12 or half 12. And it's a place that picks up people off the street, mostly men, but there are some women, many of them missing limbs, or just have mental problems or can't uh, have a good life for themselves. So they're brought into this place, and it's very hard for us to go in there because it's just one long stretch of corridor. All of the patients sit on plastic chairs facing a wall, and that's their existence, looking into a wall all day. But when we come in the morning, it's a change for them. We get them up and dancing, and we sit down and try and talk to them, and we give out their food, and we just try and do whatever we can. Even just putting a smile on their faces is enough. But yeah, they're the two main places that we would be day in, day out.
You can just begin to get a sense of the difference even that fleeting interaction can make with somebody there too. It must be a huge experience then for somebody to say, like maybe Shane or Dara that's experiencing that for the first time. So maybe if Shane or Dara are there too, maybe they're up if I could chat to one of the guys there about what it's like for them. I suppose you're there about a week now. How's it been seeing that for the first hand and actually seeing a different culture in that light?
Ronan, before the lads get on to you, I've chosen three lads here I've asked three lads to do these interviews, but Dara and Shane and Finn, and I'm a little bit nervous of what they're going to come up with, but I'll let you ask decent questions anyway. So here's Shane for you now.
Thanks.
Hi, Ron. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. How are you? Yeah.
I suppose the biggest shock we got initially was when arriving, and you can just see the difference between them and us, like. And they're all so grateful with what they have. And then there's us even 2 weeks ago crying and complaining over a storm and having no power. And these lads over here have never had power properly in their lives. Like,
yeah, certainly a bit of a contrast, all right. It goes a bit deeper too, I'd say. What other things have you noticed out there? I mean, when Liam was just speaking there about the way maybe certain people with certain maybe, difficulties, the way they're treated, very different maybe than the approach in Ireland. Anything else jump out, I suppose, be it technology, be it, lifestyle, the way, how long, opening, closing hours, what else jumps out at you since you've arrived there?
Well, last Sunday we were given the opportunity to visit the people at the slums homes, and they brought us in to see their houses, what they call houses, but to us it was just a room, and we spoke to them. So the woman I spoke to was living in a room no bigger than a kitchen in Ireland, probably smaller actually. And there was 5 of them living in there, and they had a single bed and 3 small plastic chairs and a tiny little kitchenette in the corner. And that was where they lived together, and that was their house. I think that was probably the biggest thing that shocked me, when you can see how a family can live in there.
Yeah, it's a huge contrast with ourselves too. If Dara there is maybe as well, I suppose maybe a similar question, Dara, what has jumped out at you first? And maybe will it change your thinking when you do come back home in a week's time?
Yeah, no, I was going on. As Shane said there, we got the opportunity to go to the people of the slums houses there last week. But one thing that jumped out at me, one thing that they said, and the father told us they actually moved from the country. They moved to Mumbai, sorry, for a better life. But like, to us, we can't understand how it's a better life for them, because as Shane said, it's a tiny room with plastic chairs, and they pull out a little sheet and 5 of them all go asleep on the floor. And then there's a tiny kitchen and a washroom. Like, it'll definitely change the thinking at home. Like, and I know we tend to complain a lot about stuff we have, but these have nothing over here. Like, but yet they seem to be happier and live a better life than we do.
Yeah, and now just bear in mind you're saying that on live radio and your parents are listening in, so they'll hold you to that now anytime you complain in future. Finn, you get a chance maybe to redeem yourself here. Are you going to complain less when you come home? And maybe what has jumped out for you as being kind of a key experience so far?
Yeah, definitely. I probably wouldn't be complaining much at home now anyways after seeing this. But the most shocking experience for me was when we were with the Grace Foundation. We went out with them in the ambulance to pick up people off the road, and just the conditions of the people that you pick them up with, like they're mentally not there, and they don't have clothes, they don't have anything. There was one lad whose face was completely covered in flies, like, and we brought them
we had to pick them up and bring them into the ambulance, and then we went back to the Grace Foundation, and we had to watch them getting cleaned in the showers or whatever, and they're crying out in pain from just the like, I think he must have had a broken leg or something. He couldn't move or anything. It was just quite a shocking experience, and it was quite eye opening to like how people in the world live. To be honest with you.
And the work as you're doing there with those various organisations and foundations too, can you see the impact that has even in your 2 week experience?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the smiles on the people's faces when we come into the shelters. It's just like it makes the whole trip for us. Like we do dancing with the people in the shelters, and they just absolutely love it. And just the smiles that it brings to their faces. Like even Liam and Peter, there's people in the shelters that know them, and they they still remember Peter and Liam 2 years later, and they have their Instagrams and their phone numbers, and they're pulling like pictures up of them from 2 years ago, and it just you can see the how big of an impact this is having on their lives, and it's very it makes us very happy here.
Yeah, it's fantastic how modern technology, Instagram, it goes everywhere too, and it's that you can keep that connection as well. I suppose, Ray, I know you're kind of slightly pressed for time, but for yourself as well, you've a week left to go on it. What's the plan for the next week, and how do you build on the legacy? Because I know this isn't the first time over there. It's a project that's been ongoing for a while now with Coláiste Cullum.
Yeah, it's been ongoing since actually 2000, Ronan, when Dolores Foley was the person who started all of this back then. And Dolores led the group going in 2000 and 2002, along with Fiona McMullen, another teacher still teaching in the school. I came on board in 2004, and then Alan Redden came on board in 2006. And then we've had various other teachers that have come on and off over the years. This year we had two new teachers, Ali Farrell and Keir Mannerings. They've gone home yesterday. They were coming out for a week, and yesterday we were joined by Alan Redden that I mentioned, and John Lydon as well, who's come for the first time. So you asked me about the plans for the week. We've a fairly busy schedule, to say the least, and I even put it to the lads at a meeting the other night. I said, "Look, do you want me to keep pushing you on here and have stuff organised all day, every day, or would you prefer some more downtime?" And to a man, all 15, all 17 of them said, no, we want to get everything done that we possibly can. So it's tough going where at the moment, as I said, we're in this Bosco Boys home in Boravilly. We'll get back to our accommodation about maybe 8 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow morning, very early, I think around 7:30, we're leaving to go to a girls' orphanage in a place called Prems, or a place called Mud Island. And then on Monday, we're back to our we say we're back to our usual, which has only been our usual for a week, but we're back to the Grace Foundation. And then we're going on a tour of what's called the biggest slum in Asia, Dharavi. It's an amazing place altogether. And Tuesday is there's stuff organised. We're taking a trip up the mountains to a place called Vlonavla on Wednesday, staying overnight and back on Thursday. And then we're more or less saying our goodbyes on Friday, because we leave on Saturday. But it's been a fantastic project over the years for Coláiste Cullum, and I think it's, that's credit to all the different principals. We've got Mr. Colin Roddy was principal at the beginning when Dolores started it, and now with Tygo Sullivan, he's given it his backing, and indeed our deputy principal Garrod O'Regan was here on the trip the last time as well. So it's got fantastic backing and support from the management in the school, and I think it is. I think it has benefited the school, not only the 15 lads that come every couple of years, but I think the whole school community has benefited, because, these lads will go back and give their reports, and they'll go out to the primary schools that they've been to, that they've already gone to, and who have supported us financially carrying out non-uniform days and so on. But the community, the whole school community and the whole community of the wider Tullamore area have been hugely supportive of this. The boys' parents, like I'm sure lots of them are listening there now. I can only thank you all from the bottom of my heart, because only for you guys, this project couldn't have gone on, because it's not about money and it's not about solving the problems of Mumbai or India. We're not going to go even close to that. But it's an awareness, I suppose. It's called an immersion project. The lads are immersed in a culture that's totally and utterly different to our own at home. And while here, as I think it was Finn said it there, to bring a smile. I saw Finn on a number of occasions with little babies in his arms. Finn seems to be like the film star of the group, because we were in a huge Muslim mosque yesterday, and so many people were asking to take photographs with Finn, giving them their babies and all of that to hold while they took the photographs. All the lads. Dara is gesticulating frantically to me here, saying we do that as well. But,
absolutely.
But no, the lads are great. They're all fantastic. They're all very open. We were kind of training them, I suppose, for the last 6 months. To be that open-minded and to give of themselves, and I couldn't ask for any more anyway from each and every one of them. They're fantastic.
Absolutely, and it's that human connection seems to just ring true in all of it as well. And maybe a future career in politics for Finn, given his ability to get pictures taken with babies and all that. Ray O'Donovan, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time out and helping arrange this morning as well. And to Peter Feely and Lee Maubin, Dara Boland, Shane Tobin and Finn Coleman, congrats lads, great body of work as well, and looking forward to hearing more about it after you get home and to hear you spread that message and not complaining anymore. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll let the guys back to their work there on that Kalash to Cullum India immersion project. Isn't it wonderful what can be done with just that little bit of spirit and getting the community behind you, and the difference it can make in people's lives, not just for the Indian people, but also for the students and the teachers and their families involved, really seeing a whole other side of life too. So congrats to them. I say looking forward to hearing more on that. We're going to go from Mumbai all the way across to Mullingar now, because on the line I have John Gagan, and John is a former president of Mullingar Chamber, and he's currently their economic and development spokesman as well. But he was quoted in the Westmeath Topic recently as saying that it's time to take tourism seriously over around the Mullingar region. Now, John, 2 years ago when you stepped down from the Chamber, or you finished your role as president, you said that Mullingar is now a good product marketed well. Has something changed in the meantime?
No, it definitely is, Ronan, and thanks for having me on. Like the town of itself has improved dramatically, and I mean, a transitional moment for Mullingar was the flag. When Mullingar found national prominence, and it presented so well for that week, and it was amazing. But I'm thinking more about Westmeath, the county, and the bordering counties for tourism. I would be arguing that it's not really taken seriously. There's no real delivery in terms of tourism and progress. And if you look at Mullingar and the lakelands around it, nothing has happened in my lifetime, and I'm only 45 years old. And I mean, I've never seen anything developed to access the lakes or to deliver tourism amenities beside the lakes. And I would like to see an improvement in how we deal with tourism, and I very much welcome Peter Burke as the Minister for Tourism now, and I think he will deliver in this area.
What specifically then? You access to the lakes too. I think you've called out things like the standard of, is it the kind of rail network, the train stations? You're looking at the overall package of getting more people to the region.
Exactly. At that particular meeting, we focused on Mullingar railway station, which has been a pivotal point in Westmeath for over 100 years. And the Athlone line closed down several years ago, and now it's obviously the Greenway. And the Athlone element of the station is in a state of dilapidation. And we've been calling the council to look at this and see what they can do with it to deliver some amenity there, whether it's a co-working hub or some sort of a connector point in that beautiful old building. But there's been very little take up, and we're trying to encourage the council to engage on this and to engage with Éireann Road Éireann and see what their plan is. Wider than that, there is a proposal going back over 20 years to deliver the National Transportation Museum in Mullingar, and this is a massive project. It could cost in the region of 30-40 million euros, but it could deliver a museum where you've got considerable rail infrastructure in one place at one time, where visitors can travel from all over the world to visit, and it could bring in 50 to 100,000 visitors a year.
Why a National Transportation Museum? Why Mullingar?
Because at the moment we don't have one, and Mullingar is an intersection in the middle of the country where you have a road, you have a canal, and you have a railway line intersecting, and you have an availability of land. There's 4 or 5 acres there beside the railway station. It's in ownership of Iarnród Éireann. It's absolutely ideal for this, and it would fulfil, I think, a very interesting opportunity in the Midlands and bring in considerable tourism and considerable revenue.
Earlier in the show, I spoke to John Butler from Banagher and about the redevelopment of the swimming pool there, and there's a lot happening around Banagher again. And one thing that I know in Offaly, in that kind of part of South Offaly years ago, there was 3 or 4 different kind of tourism bodies or tourism brands all operating ultimately around the same area. With the likes of Ireland's hidden heartlands now, that was meant to throw that emphasis back onto the Midlands counties, is that having any impact? Or, with just transition funding that's in place, what's going to be the game changer?
I'll tell you, the whole thing about the brands is, in my view, a nonsense. So you've got like the Hidden Heartlands, you've got the Wide Atlantic Way, and these things are all labels that the authorities can attach funding to, but I don't think that it's delivering for the Midlands. And when I say that, I mean that we need to deliver individual projects in individual places with individual priorities. And having labels and brands are lovely, but I don't think anyone comes to Ireland because we have got the Hidden Heartlands. And I don't think anyone stays here because we have a label called the Hidden Heartlands. It's actually the experience you get when you're here that brings people here and will keep them coming back.
Mullingar, as you say, with the Flacule, highly successful, brought a lot of overnight stays from people, even for a week. You'd camper vans, you'd all sorts of different accommodations being brought into light as well. What's a key metric for somewhere like Mullingar? Is it looking at increasing the number of overnight stays, stopping people as they're traversing the country, or would you look at it more economically? What's the kind of big metrics for yourselves?
Overnight, I mean, it's a 2 or 3 night stay is what transforms the local economy in terms of tourism. And at the moment, we might get people for a night or 2, but they're going somewhere else. So they're going to Kerry, they're going to Donegal, they're going to somewhere that's better marketed and has got possibly better amenities. But if we could deliver better amenities, we could hold people for 2-3 days. And if you look at the Centre Park model, they've got 4 days and 3 day stays. And that works. If you can get people to stay there for 3 days or 4 days, you get more boots on the ground for a longer time. And a massive area now is slow tourism. If you look at people, the younger tourists, they want to have a low carbon footprint. And we think you could deliver an incredible amenity between like Loch Derivara and Loch Ree, where you could kayak from one place to the other and stop along your journey in a low carbon footprint amenity, which doesn't have to be a hotel. It could be a yurt or it could be some sort of a green amenity, but it gives someone a place to stay and it's got a lower carbon footprint.
Absolutely, and things like dark sky tourism probably come into the mix too, because there's people who would travel the world to come and stay somewhere where they can actually see the night sky, the stars and the various constellations.
Exactly.
It's never given in some big cities as well. I'd say my previous guests in Mumbai have little chance of seeing the stars. John, what has to happen next though? I mean, yes, the minister is in place. All politics they say is local, but how much can Peter do, I suppose, with tourism underneath his remit?
This is the opportunity of a century, and we're so fortunate to have Peter as minister. And he is ambitious for this area. And I think he's looking at it strategically and he's going to make a mark. And I just think what I was flagging is I think all the stakeholders need to work together now and to get in behind Peter and get in behind that plan here. And this will see enormous progress. And in the next 10 years, we can transform the Midlands from a tourism point of view.
Absolutely. It's such a huge region with huge potential as well. John, as always, thank you so much for your input. And undoubtedly, we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Ron.
John Geoghegan there from Mullingar Chamber. So yeah, some kind of big ideas being thrown in there too. But that's exactly it. We can't kind of rest on our laurels. We have a great offering. We're seeing that with Banagher. We're seeing it in Mullingar and so many places right across the Midlands. Let's try and make the most of it. And as John says, maybe a slightly different angle there. The kind of low carbon tourism, the slow tourism, maybe the night sky or the dark sky tourism. Lots of opportunities anyway to avail of. Now, go take a short break because after we're going to talk about Storm Éowyn and particularly the impact it's had and the humanitarian assistance scheme. Who is it open to? What can you claim on it? And how can you go about that? That's all coming up in just a couple of moments.
Saturday View, with thanks to Lumcloon Energy, pioneering innovation, powering progress. LumcloonEnergy.com.
Just over 2 weeks ago, Storm Éowyn hit the country in that kind of short but sudden and strong burst. And many people lost power, some for hours, some for days. some like myself for a week, but many people around Offaly, Laois and Westmeath are still without power. It has a huge impact on water. It's had impact on people's health, on their, getting heat in their house as well. And many are still kind of suffering, let's call it as it is, because the weather took a bit of dip in temperature there too. And one thing that emerged was the humanitarian assistance scheme that is open to people to apply for if they have been impacted by the storm. But I suppose when a form goes out there, people sometimes are hesitant to fill them in. They're not sure what they're about. They're not sure whether they're eligible for them or what even they can claim on that. But one person who's kind of taken action on this is Councillor Aoife Masterson. Aoife, of course, a Sinn Féin councillor in Offaly County Council. And Aoife, you've been sending out forms to people all across the kind of Tullamore region and beyond as well. But before we get to those forms, there still are people without power in the region.
Morning, Ronan, and thanks so much for to yourself and your listeners for having me on. I suppose, look, this has been ongoing for quite some time now, and there's an awful lot of people who at this point are in real difficulty. Like you said, we're a number of days out, we're over a week out, and there are still people who are without electricity across Offaly. And another knock-on issue is there's an awful lot of people who are having additional financial expense as a result of the storm, and that's having a knock-on impact even today, even if the power is restored, with the groceries, with just keeping the show on the road as a result of the storm. So this assistance scheme is a way to address some of the loss that people have had as a result of the storm. And as you said, there are two forms that are available to people. There is Form 1 and Form 2, and both of them are designed to acknowledge the help that is needed, the need that's out there, and to see how it can be assessed. And there is such huge need out there at the moment.
And that can obviously vary, as you say, per somebody's experience too. We've had one or two people texting in saying they've actually managed to claim some money back, maybe towards expenses for running diesel or petrol in a generator. People then are asking, can they claim for food items that were lost if they've thrown them out already? Can they still be claimed retrospectively in that? So we know there's probably a lot of nuances, and the likes of citizens information can help people as well. What's your understanding of the scheme? Because there's two or three different forms associated.
There is. So what I would say to people is, if in any doubt, come into me or give me a call here on my office in Tullamore. I'm there Monday to Friday from 10 to 5 in the office, ready to help. And I'm always on the phone, morning, noon or night, on the other end of the line. So if in any doubt, give me a shout. There's always someone there to assist you with the form. The forms themselves, there's 3 different forms. The first form is the one that is not means assessed. And that's the one that is for, I suppose, if you've incurred any expense as a result of the storm, such as loss of food, you might have had to throw out, items from your fridge. A lot of people have had to throw out the entire contents of the fridge because they were out of power for so long that it actually melted. And then also if people have had to stay overnight in a hotel as a result of the storm for health and safety reasons, anything like that. I'm conscious of a lot of young mothers who had to stay overnight in hotels because they had no way to heat up or look after the children's formula or anything like that. All of that can be claimed back under the first form, and that's the Humanitarian Assistance Form 1. And the important thing here is that that's not means tested.
When you say all of that, do you mean kind of all those types of scenarios as opposed to the amount of money?
Yeah, all those type of scenarios can be claimed back under that. Now, there is no cap on the amount that can be claimed under that scheme. There's a bit of confusion about that at the moment, but there is no cap on the amount that can be claimed back under that scheme. And there is no requirement for documentation to be submitted in relation to that. Obviously, what we're talking about here is stuff that would be very hard to document. You're looking at groceries, all of that you would have purchased before the storm. So you wouldn't have necessarily kept the receipts or anything like that. But it's a way to get people back on their feet, to recognise the real difficulty that people are in and to help them with that. And what I would say again is, if in any doubt, put in the application, ask for advice and guidance on the application, because that's what we're there for. That's what I'm there for as your local representative, to help you with that. There's also 2 other forms that might be of interest to a lot of people, a lot of your listeners as well, which is the Humanitarian Assistance 2 form. And again, there's a lot of damage that was done that mightn't be covered by insurance, such as, people's fridges. A lot of fridges went and a lot of freezers went during that. So anything like that. Some people might need painting redone. They might need some of the smaller things that wouldn't necessarily be covered by insurance. And that's what the Humanitarian Assistance 2 form is. Now, this form and this programme is means tested. So what I would say to people is, again, it's not, I suppose, that you would be ineligible as a result of your income. However, it is that you might have to put a contribution towards it. So any one person over 50,000 would be earning over 50,000 would be expected to put 1% for every €1,000 that they earn over 50,000. So I suppose a good example is, and my maths might not be the best here,
I won't hold you to it.
but if you earn 51,000 and a fridge goes for €1,000, and then you would be expected to pay 1% of the cost of replacing the fridge. You would also need to provide estimates for this. So you would need to provide 2 estimates just to show that this is the cost of replacing what you had. So it's relatively straightforward, and the means test shouldn't be exclusionary. And what I would say is it shouldn't discourage people from applying. And again, with couples, the limit is slightly higher. It's 90,000 for a couple, and again, it's a percentage of it. But these are all things that can be ironed out, can be looked up to make sure. But it shouldn't prevent people from making the application in the first place.
Is payment fairly swift on them, and how is it typically paid?
Payment has been relatively swift on them in my experience. So what people need to do is it's posted off to your local intro office, and from there it can take the payment 1 can be swifter than the payment 2, because payment 2 is means tested. At the moment, payments are swift, but what I would say is I have submitted over 200 forms at this point with local constituents, posted them out, helped them, people calling into the office. So I would expect that over the next while, this will get a bit more intense. There will be more applications, and perhaps the wait time for assistance will extend. So I would say to people to get their applications in now before we start to see the bulk of them come in.
And very briefly, there is a third form as well, a HAS 3.
There is a third form. This is for more structural damage. So this is if something has happened to the body of the house. This is where you might need engineers' reports, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I would strongly recommend, if anyone has an application under that they call in to myself or someone who can assist them with this. That is a more technical form that needs more detail.
I can imagine time would be of the essence there too. Absolutely. Before any work is done or that. Aoife Masterson, thank you so much for that overview this morning as well. I think it'll be of a lot of use for people, particularly as they try to deal with the aftermath of Storm Éowyn. But look, as Aoife said, check out those forms. You get them online, Citizen Information, Aoife's office, any of your local representatives can surely help you on that. Other than that, thank you for listening. Lorraine is here next with Feel Good Saturday. Thank you to all this morning's contributors. It's been a roller coaster. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll talk to you all again on Tuesday and taking care of business. Have a great weekend.
Saturday View, with thanks to Lumcloon Energy, pioneering innovation, powering progress. lumcloonenergy.com. Midlands 103.